today we are going to talk about how to take care of houseplants. And I know we have done this video a few times, uh, but today is different. Today, since we have, so this is the first time that we have a structure where we have 30 minutes to discuss a topic. And I'm loving this structure because if you're attending this, you would have seen that even when I put out a summary on Instagram, it's not the same thing. It is the same thing, but it is not the same thing in terms of depth and understanding. And that's why I'm really enjoying these 30-minute sessions. So today what we are going to do is we're going to talk about if you're a beginner and if you bring in houseplants, what are some simple things that one can do just to make sure that the plants do very well, right? And we are not targeting just well, we are doing targeting very well. Now that's the important thing. So here's my coffee. My coffee is ready and let's do this. Okay, so till now we have discussed about light and water. So first thing I'm going to take for granted that everyone who is here is definitely going to take care of light and water of the plants. I mean, that is given. You have to keep the plant in the right place. If the plant can get artificial light, if it is inside the house, these two things you have to take care. And if you have not seen, go and see that video about plants and light. And the same thing with water. It is watered, but not overwatered. It watered thoroughly, but not often. All those points that we discussed in watering, they are taken care of. So these are the two things that I'm just going to assume are taken care of. And now let's proceed forward that after these two things are taken care of, what can we do to improve the health of our plants? So number one that I would say, or let's call it number two, because number one is taking care of light and water. So number two that I'm going to say is make a schedule. That is very important. So what I mean by make a schedule is it's not necessary that you have to give once a week, twice a week, or once in 2 weeks. That's not the thing. What is important is that you have decided you're going to give some time. But that time of yours should be divided among all the plants. A lot of the time what happens is we keep taking care of plants which are in front of us, or we keep taking care of plants, the same plants every Sunday, but the other plants get neglected, right? And now why is that important is the plant that we think we are taking care of, we are overdoing there, so like overwatering or something like that, but the plants which need some care is missing out. So having a schedule between the plants is very important, just for you to understand that you will get to see the different kind of problems and different kind of plants. One thing that I see is people really struggle when things go wrong with a low maintenance plant because they've never cared for it ever, right? So just to overcome this thing, all I'm saying is make a schedule, divide it among your plants and take rotation for all plants. Then once you're taking rotation, what are you going to look for the plants? That's the very important thing, right? So I have some plants here which I've been thinking to show you, and let's start with this one. This one made an appearance a couple of days back also. And do you see the droopy leaves? So number one, I would say is in terms of what to take care of, pay attention to signs. Pay attention to signs of stress in your plants. So one of the first signs is droopy leaves. The leaf starts to droop down. Now I'll show you a difference. This is not a droopy leaf. It is going down, but it's a very perky, it's a very nice leaf. Whereas when I look at this one, it's all droopy leaves. You see? This leaf, this leaf here, you see it's going all the way straight and then it's just bending down. Normally it is not like that. Normally when it's a healthy plant, the leaf is like this, exactly like this. But right now it is like this. So when you're looking at your plants, Look for the first signs of stress or unhappiness in the plants. That is very important, right? And the one of the first signs always shows in the leaves. The leaves starts to droop. Now, if it is a plant where you have not been watering, the first thing would be just to see if it needs water. If it needs water, water it thoroughly and keep observing that plant, right? If it becomes okay once you water it, then it's amazing. Now you also know that every time this plant shows this sign, I need to provide it water and it will be okay. So one thing is look out for the signs, because if I let this plant go, it will turn into those brown tips and the brown leaves. I'll be talking about my leaves are falling. At that time, I'll water it more. Then it will become overwatering. Then I'll be like, my stem is rotting. So instead of going to those issues, we have to spot it very early just by change of appearance of the plant as a whole. We are like, the plant doesn't look that happy. It looks sad. You will get that feel. And that's what you need to get to. That's number one. I know it's a very subjective thing. It's not as objective as all the other tips I've given till now, but I'm telling you this will work and you'll get a knack of it. The second thing is at the leaves itself. So one of the things that I really wanted to say, give me 1 second. Let me see if I have that plant here. Okay, I have one plant here that I can show you. Do you see this plant? Do you see a yellow leaf? Do you see this yellow leaf? Do you see this plant? Now, what does this yellow leaf indicate to you? What are you going to do about this yellow leaf? Okay, so this yellow leaf is not a matter of concern at all. Yes, Krishna Verma says cut it. Dr. Shweta Singh says rest are all okay. And that's the important thing. This is just a leaf which has grown old. And what you'll find is you don't even have to pluck it. You touch it, it breaks off from the stem. I wanted to show this always because I get so many messages every day with regarding to this. Even if not every day with this, at least weekly I get at least 100, like people would say my leaves are turning yellow, and I'm like, show a photo and there's that one leaf which is yellow, and then you see new growth happening. There is all other leaves are fine, there's just one leaf which is becoming yellow. And like Manali is saying, yellow leaf may be overwatered. No. So in this plant, when there's just one yellow leaf, it is essentially leaves age, they die. Normally, you know this mosam called Pachhad or fall, as it's called as, when all the trees shed their leaves. Now for trees, a lot of trees, that's a coordinated one time that the leaves come at this time and they last a year or 9 months, 10 months, and they all fall together. It's a normal process. For your plants, it may not be all together. But say for croton I've found for people who have croton under stress, all leaves would generally fall together. But as we discussed yesterday, you see the bark, if it's okay, the plant continues and all leaves start coming again and they grow. So don't panic over one single leaf. And I'll tell you why. Because when you panic over a single leaf, you actually start harming the plant. Either you change the watering schedule, you change other things, you change the position. That plant was doing okay. It was amazing. It was wonderful. It was growing. In fact, it had a leaf that could reach the end of its life. Right? And that's my second tip. Don't bother about a single yellow leaf. Then what should we bother about? We should look for new growth and we should look for spread of yellow leaves, spread of brown tips. Whenever you see brown tips, always see, are there more? Like let's take this one for example. Okay, a great plant. I love it. Now, you see here, there's this brown tip here. Not able to show properly. The brown tip here, and then there is a brown tip here. Now, what does this mean? How do we evaluate this? We look for new growth. You see? You see this new growth? You see new growth here inside? This is very important because there can be a lot of reasons why these leaves got brown. But it's only when I see a pattern that I can fix it and not go into hyper, what do you say, that helicopter mom kind of a mentality where like, what's happening with you, let me fix it. No, right? And this you'll be able to do when you have a schedule of dividing your plants so that you're able to observe all plants. If I come to this plant like once in 2 months, I see this, I have zero clue. Even then I have a clue. I see new growth and I see brown leaves. I can correlate and I can say, okay, the plant is overall happy. There's something that went wrong, right? Then comes, so what we have talked about is focus on leaves for the signs, but don't overemphasize on those signs. Don't get stuck unless they are across the leaves, unless you see a pattern, unless you see it spreading. Don't obsess over it. That's what we talked about. Then let's come to a couple of other things that you can do to help your plant. One of the very important things, and somebody asked me this, I think in the first live I had done here on plants and light, and I had said we'll take this point up. Roots also breathe. The roots that plant has likes aeration. It doesn't like to be in air. It likes aeration, almost like sponge, right? Sponge absorbs water. The same way roots like to be in a medium where they can have some aeration, flow of air in and out. And that's why one of the preferences is for terracotta pots, because terracotta pots have these pores which allow for aeration and flow of air across. But what's the other great thing that you can do for your plant on a regular basis? And that is called as tilling the soil, or in Hindi we call it gudai. Extremely effective, very easy to do. If you have kids, they will enjoy it like anything. They will love it. And let me show you how to do it. Mud. Okay, so we have this pot, and imagine this is a khurpi. Don't think this is a butter knife, this is a khurpi. Okay, I got stuck in my home without a khurpi. I had taken all my khurpis to office because we had got new plants there, and I don't know what's happening to those plants or to that khurpi that I saw collection of khurpi. So what we have to do is we have to go a bit deep, go down like this at an angle. Can you see it? I don't know. Go down at an angle and then just lift. So one very important thing is don't go too near the stem. You don't want to hurt your plant, because the worst thing you can do in this process is that the main root that it has, you hurt it. Do you see this? Okay, we have loosened the soil on the top. And why it's amazing is there are a couple of things that happen this way. Firstly, the water is able to reach the roots much better. And because of that, you don't have algae on the top layer of the soil. So that's one from the watering perspective. But now the roots also have some air to breathe. So ideally, the best time to till is probably one day before watering. That would be the best time. If you're using fertilizer, like here I had green sticks, uh, you after for green stick specifically, I can say, because for green stick you don't need tilling, you can just insert it in. uh, it is okay when you are tilling that the green stick gets here and there, that's okay, and you can ignore that. So this thing, which is very simple to do, it is very easy to do, especially if you have few plants. If you have a lot of plants, I know it's going to be an effort, and then you can just divide it over 2 months, 3 months. Just do 5 pots a day, not every day, but every Sunday, like do 5 or 10. And this way, by the way, this is a great plant. It's called Philodendron Congo. If you find it, bring it home. It's an amazing plant. I think I got this one for 40 rupees, and it is amazing. So, tilling is one of the most amazing but underestimated, or I would say underrated activity in gardening. So anytime somebody message or shares on story a photo of them doing gudai and tilling and aerating the soil, I'm like, this is amazing. This is the thing that you require. Now, when you are tilling, now what can you observe at the time of tilling that can help you make decisions for a plant? That's the other thing. So firstly, if you are tilling and you find roots coming on the surface, that's a sign that the pot needs to be changed. So at that time, you just need to check two things. Firstly, are you watering thoroughly? Do roots go down? But most of the times, like I would say 90% of the times, if you're tilling and just like 1 centimeter below the soil, you are hitting roots across everywhere, that basically means the pot has outgrown, oh sorry, the plant has outgrown the pot size. And this is another tip. For happier plants, you need to repot and repot it often. But when I say often, it basically means every year or every 2 years, not more than that. But you need to do that. Don't put a plant in too big a pot. So what will happen if you put, you're like, instead of uh, repotting it that frequently every year, why can't you just put it in a bigger pot from the beginning? What would go wrong if you put it in too big a pot? Let's see that. Okay, so Matt says, how often should we till the soil? I would typically say once in 2 months. Once a month is recommended. It's a bit too much to do it properly. Once in 2 months is a good time. Once in 2 months, once in 3 months. You also have to understand why the tilling goes bad is because of watering. Every time you water, the soil settles. So if you're going to water once in 2 weeks, then once in 2 months is fine to till. You'll get a feel. Once you start tilling, you'll get a feel that the water is not going well down, is seeping down well, and I should probably till the soil. Chances of root rotting, water absorption problem, and water wastage. We will overwater them. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. That is very true. You know what? We never water according to the plant size. We water to wet the soil thoroughly, right? I mean, we discussed that. That day also we said water till the soil, water starts seeping in from the drainage. So if we, in beginning, we put it in too big a pot, what will happen is the soil is going to have too much of water or the moisture. And the roots, the small roots, will not be able to absorb it. So the plant can rot. There's another problem. When roots have all the space to grow, there is a high chance that we just keep having root growth and not having the plant grow as a whole healthy. And that's the two reasons. So we start with looking at the signs from the leaves, but then we don't obsess on just one single leaf, right? Then we came to the soil. I talked about tilling. And while tilling, you're observing that if you're hitting roots, so as Manali said, firstly, if you're hitting roots, don't continue doing that, you'll hurt the roots. But if you're hitting roots continuously across on the periphery, right, it's time to repot. Repot it to a size bigger or two size bigger. What do we mean by a pot size? When we say it's a 4-inch pot or a 6-inch pot, what is 4-inch or what is 6-inch? Is it the height, the diameter, the radius? What is it? How do we know we are going one step higher? Okay, Dr. Shweta Singh says diameter. Dinesh Pundi says depth. Jeevta says inch of open part of pot. It's the diameter, depth, diameter, radius. Okay, is the diameter. And Jivita Ji has clearly mentioned, and I think it's an important thing, is the diameter of the top, not of the bottom. Okay, so it's a diameter of the top. So whenever we say 6-inch pot, 4-inch pot, 8-inch pot, what we mean is the diameter. After that, the pots are fairly standard in their shape and the height ratios and all. So that's the thing. Okay. So when we say we go as size higher, we go move by 2-inch. So if it is a 4-inch, we go to 6. If it's a 6-inch, we go to 8-inch. If it's an 8-inch, we go to 10-inch. If it's a 10-inch, then we can go to 12 or 14. If it's 12, then we can go to 14 or 16. And the reason there is, after you are at 10 inches, the plant itself becomes so big that it will be very difficult to repot it on time every time. So you try to just accommodate for a couple of years at a time rather than just do it for a year, because like I can repot this plant easily, but if I have to repot a huge plant like, let's say, this one, I don't have the energy to repot it right now. I mean, next time I have to do it, I'll just break it into a couple of parts and then divide it into different plants. But you get the idea, right? So that, I think, essentially is an 18-inch pot. I think so, or a 24. Okay, so tilling is very important, and then is repotting, knowing when to repot. We'll do a video on how to repot, but knowing when to repot, and we repot it. Now comes pruning. Pruning is one of the things that I think everybody knows, because I get a lot of questions on that. At the same time, they know that they have to do it, but they don't know when to do it, how to do it, and why to do it. So let's start with why to do it. Why do we prune, and what happens when we prune? Firstly, there's another one. This is not the best scissors to prune, because essentially this is used for hardwood. There's another one which is curved, and that you can use for softer ones and things like that. But I just have all of these, and all my cuttings I do from this. Okay. Now, why do you prune? And when to prune? Okay, we'll come to that. But why do we prune, and what kind of plants are perfect for pruning? So we prune so that the plant becomes bushier. That's the main idea. We wanted to have more branches. We wanted to divide more. Now, why does it work? Where I said, even if you have a pre-cut mint, create a fresh cut before inserting it into water. Right. So anytime a plant gets a cut, it wants to heal, it wants to survive, and it wants to grow back. So when you cut it and put it in water, it's like, what can I do best to survive? I should root fast. And it starts to root. It would have rooted otherwise also, but making that fresh cut just helps to do that a bit faster and in a better manner. The same way, when you see a node and you prune from there or you trim from there, what happens is the plant is not going to be able to grow straight on that anymore. Then it is going to look at the node which is just below it, and that is going to start creating two new branches. We are not going to cut it today, but I'll tell you. Let's say this is a plant, right? Now, do you see these nodes? There's a node here. Can you see these nodes? There's a node here. There's a node here. There's a node here. Now, do you see something really odd about the nodes? Just below the node, a leaf is coming out. Right? And you'll always see this. For different plants, there's a direct relationship between the nodes and the branching and the leaves. Even on the in plants which have thorns, like bougainvillea or rose. Just give me a second. So plants which have thorns like bougainvillea or rose or things like that, there's a direct relationship between the thorn and the leaf, the place of the leaf. The same thing here, the node and the leaf. So what we are going to do in general when we are pruning, let's say, okay, if I was to prune this, what would I do? I'll cut above the node, right? I'll cut it above the node. And what am I expecting? I'm expecting this node to divide into two. I might have to take off this leaf and then I'll have it breaking into two. Then what I do, I prune here and here. Then that divides into two and that divides into two. This again is a great technique, not only for dividing, but also, like I said, in mint, once you give a cut, it gets into that feel of higher growth for the roots. The same way, any plant which is stagnating, which is not growing for a long time, once you give it a bit of pruning or a bit of trimming, it starts to grow because it gets out of that dormancy. Now, I think for most of us, we deal with indoor plants. So what we are concerned about is how to prune or trim these things, like this money plant here. Today, I think we are going to go over time. I'm going to try and wrap it up in the next 5 minutes or so, though, because I'm sure everyone has something to do. Smita says pruning works very well for Tulsi. Okay. Here we have the same thing. We have nodes. Now you see here I have just pinched off this one. Where can we see this? I pinched off this one a couple of weeks back. Oh, sorry, a couple of days back. And I pinched off here also a couple of days back. Yeah, here. I think this is a perfect example to show. Should I take it out? Should I not take it out? Do you see this new growth happening? Okay, okay, this new growth is happening here, this one, right? And if we go and see what is, okay, it has gone. Okay, so this is the new growth that is happening. And here you see I had just trimmed off this end. Now, what has happened in here in general is the same thing. Now, the best thing about the money plant or any plant like this is once you trim off, it doesn't need to go waste. I had taken that cutting and I had put it in water. Uh, I had trimmed off. This is the end I had trimmed off from this one, and this is the one I had trimmed off from that one. And I just put it in water, and then I'll get a new plant here. At the same time, that plant is trimmed, and that will do well. Now, this is essentially very useful for people who want baskets, trailing plant, bushier money plant, and things like that. We need to trim. Once we trim, you can use that section back into the same plant or into another plant, any ways that you want. I mean, say into the same pot or into another pot. Both ways, it will help you. But unless you trim, it will not divide. And unless it divides, you will not get the bushier plant that you want. So that is very important thing. Another very important thing for houseplants is for most of the plants that you keep indoors, they like low light, but they like one more thing which we don't have at home. That is humidity and moisture. So there are multiple ways to do that. 3 ways you can provide moisture to your plants is, firstly, you can use a mister. You know that spray bottle that we use. And do one more thing. Put that moisture on the nodes. Spray it on the nodes. And now the second option is you can put plants in a place where there's already humidity. Like kitchen or say bathroom, where there's a sink, there's a water source, so that you're going to use the sink continuously. That water is going to create certain amount of humidity there. So I have one shelf of plants right above my sink in kitchen, and that's a great way to provide your plants humidity. And the third one is having a humidifier. But misting will work amazingly well. Mist the nodes, and that will get you happier plants, no doubt, every time. Because if our houses lack one thing that these plants really love, that is humidity. So a couple of things that we discussed today. We are going to start with understanding, we are going to start with an assumption that you are going to take care of light and water. You're not going to overwater, and you're going to keep the right plant at the right place according to its light needs. And then the second thing is we make a schedule. We make a schedule so that each and every plant of your home gets attention. You are able to observe every plant sometime or the other, and none of them is neglected. And what are you going to do once you start paying attention to them? That's point 3. We are going to look for signs. We are going to look for signs in the plant itself, whether it is stressed or not. If it looks unhappy because of any other reason, be it leaves drooping or leaves curling, we know something is wrong. We are going to try and fix it at the earliest signs possible. But point number 4 is, at the same time, we are not going to get bothered by a single leaf showing some signs. If there's a single leaf with brown tips, there's a single leaf which is yellow, we are not going to bother. We are going to just observe if that is spreading, if more leaves are getting that, and we are going to look for new growth to know that the plant is doing well. Then comes point number 5. We have to till the soil. We have to till the soil. We till the soil and make it aerated so that water can seep in and roots can breathe. Very important, very amazing, and essential thing for happy house plants. But point number 6 comes when you are tilling. If you find that you are able to touch roots everywhere just at a small depth, that basically means it's time to repot the plant. Repot the plant, but don't repot it in too big a pot. That's going to be an issue. Pot it into one size bigger. And what we mean by size is the diameter of the pot. So repotting every year, every 2 years is essential for the house plants. and they are going to grow if only if they're repotted. Point number 7 comes pruning or trimming the plants, trimming them according to the node so that the node just below that can divide and branch out and create multiple bushy growths. Also, when we prune, we give plant a signal to come out of dormancy and start growing. And that brings us to point number 8, which is the last point. Very important, very simple point. The house plants that we have, the plants we have indoors, they come from rainforest. They love humidity. So mist your plants, put them near a sink, basin, or just get a humidifier, but give them that humidity. And your plants will thank you for that. And with that, it's a wrap for today's topic. I hope this was useful. Also, what I have not done is I have not repeated in detail any of the tips that we have already covered. But there is one video on YouTube. It's a very short video, 4-minute, 5-minute video that I've done. 5 tips for happy houseplants, right? Or how to take care of your indoor houseplants. Just you can see in this channel itself, there is a green title which says 5 tips for happy houseplants. You will love that. It's just 4-5 minutes. It has 5 points, and they are different from this one. The presentation is different, and you will find value in that. Thank you so much. I'll be taking questions now, but as always, you're free to leave. This is officially a wrap. If you liked the session, if you would like to attend in future, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And I know I have to say it every day because I have it noted down that, listen, you're new to YouTube. If you want YouTube to know that you do good work, ask people to, thumbs up. It's not like here, it's thumbs up. And subscribe. Subscribe essentially because we are doing at least 1 to 2 videos a day now. Honestly, one more way that you can really help us. I mean, I get a lot of questions that how can I help you? How can we join? One of the ways you can really help us is if you have any WhatsApp group, just spread the link for this channel, not for a specific video, but for the channel, and tell people that listen, or maybe for a specific video, but not this 1-hour video because people are not going to love that. Maybe a short 5-minute, 4-minute video, like I said, 5 tips for happy houseplant. That's the video to share. So just share in any WhatsApp group that you might have, which might be relevant. I mean, don't spam. I don't appreciate spamming in general. Don't spam. But if you know there's gardening group or some group of common interest who will enjoy this, then please do that. That will mean a lot because we want to focus here on doing lives and on the YouTube aspect of things. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming. Tomorrow we'll meet again. Oh, sorry, one more thing before I forget. If you have dhania seeds, that is coriander seeds, soak them in water overnight. Just put them in water right now. I'll put it in stories. I'll send it in as an SMS also. But just soak your coriander seeds. We got too many questions yesterday. Even today, I've been getting questions about coriander. We'll start growing coriander from tomorrow. And I see some messages about microgreens. So these are my microgreens. I've already started eating them. I'm sorry, I should have given this update, though we did discuss this yesterday also. Now is the time to start eating it. You can start eating your microgreens, and that will be amazing. Do share your photos on how you are eating your microgreens or the dishes that you're putting it in, and that will be great. Thank you, Manali. Mint transfer to pot should be when after it starts rooting a bit. Normally it is 7 to 10 days. Please do cover details about how to replant bigger plant. Yes, we'll be doing a day on repotting. I think always when to do it, because for that I need this space a bit cleared out. We need to change the setup so that the camera can be at floor level and I can show it properly. But we will do. Surinder says ginger is pending. Yes, ginger is pending. Let me see. Let's do it Monday or Tuesday. I know ginger is doing. How can we share photos with you? Manoj, can you put down an email ID here where they can share all the photos? Put down videos at lazygardener.in. So you can send out all the photos to videos at lazygardener.in, and that will reach us. And Tomato, Grisha canolia, tomato has started germinating for people. It has not. So actually, I'll tell you one problem I had. In all these videos and doing lives for a couple of days, 3-4 days, I couldn't water my seeds. So they're about 4 days behind everyone. But for most people, the tomato has started germinating. They're starting to sing shoots. For a couple of people, cucumber is showing up. Cucumber, lemon, nobody is showing up, and I didn't even expect lemon to show up right now. But I think by Monday, Tuesday, lemon should start showing up for people. Oh, by the way, yes. I saw 2 or 3 people share the lemon photos also. Carrot is doing for everyone. Onion is doing for everyone except me. I don't know why my onion is not working. There's absolutely zero change. Then cucumber, lemon, tomato. We have done this. Am I forgetting any? Okay, it's video at lazygardener.in, not videos. It's video at lazygardener.in, and you can send it. See, Arundhati says onions have plenty of roots. Tell that to my onion. It has zero roots. Honestly, zero. Manali says growing vegetables in this lockdown is useful. Subita says my onion too not working out. I am also just having a feeling that the nails are the culprit, because I've never had in my whole life, I've put onions so many times. I've never had onion not working. I am like, yes, chili and capsicum. Subita. So I didn't do chili, I did capsicum. I have not seen anyone else do capsicum, but people have done chili. It has not germinated yet, except for 1 or 2 people shared it has started germinating. But chili and capsicum, we have to remember, we did almost the last, I think it was Monday or Tuesday that we did chili or capsicum. And it will take a week. In general, for any plant, we should go by saying it takes a week. And because I also have to say that because, the climate conditions vary a lot. Like I'll tell you, when we did coriander in November, for most people, it was happening around in 5 days. For everyone in Delhi, you won't believe it. In November, for everyone in Delhi, it took almost 20 days for the seeds to germinate because of the climate. The sun was not out there for 10 days. So don't give up on your seeds. If you have followed along with me, you've done everything correctly. Okay. Seeds will germinate. Just keep watering regularly. Don't be like me and just forget watering for 4-5 days out of 7 days. That is not going to work out. But if you keep watering, so now I've started keep watering it since last 3 days. Well, they will germinate it out. If you've followed us, it will germinate. The germination of seed is never that big an issue. The issue is generally survival after that. So if you have not seen germination till now, just have hope it will work out. There is a huge chances it will work out. So we will see germination at least. Okay, my capsicum has germinated. Okay, Sunita Menon, amazing. When do we shift tomato to a pot? Grishma, can you send a photo? So ideally, I'll tell you what is the thumb rule to transfer anything to a pot. Okay, I'll tell you that. Since I love to do concepts rather than instructions, let me talk about when do we move anything to a pot. Grishma, tell me one thing. Have you done it in a paper cup? And if yes, how many germinations do you have in a paper cup? Manali says methi microgreens parantha tastes amazing. How to grow lemongrass? Manali, how many could you make? So one of the things is with microgreens, it's not that you have to make it like aloo ka parantha. I'm just guessing. I've never made microgreens parantha, but I'm just guessing. But yeah, I mean, you can just put it in the dough itself, roll it like a besan ka chila ka we do. I have 4 tomato germinated. Sunita Menon says I have 4 germinated tomatoes. Paper cup 3 germination. Grishma Kanula. Okay, so in one you have 3 to 4. Okay, so my first job is to understand which is the healthiest of them all, right? So till the time we can't make that decision, we have to keep it here. Well, we have to keep it here even after that. But let me give you about the 3 steps to this. Firstly, right now you may not have true leaves. Do your leaves look like they're 2 leaves like this? There's one stem and 2 leaves like this, or 1 leaf like this. Those are known as cotyledons and those are not the true leaves. Never shift at this stage. You never have to shift before you see the true leaves. That's rule number 1. So right now, if you are not seeing the true leaves, then you do not have to shift. Then if you have used a paper cup and say not a seedling tray, then what happens is you might have 3-4 germinations in one cup, 2 or 3 germinations. Is one of them outperforming others by a great margin? Or is one of them lacking behind from others by a great margin? This is the way we know to take them out. There will be times when you're not able to take it out because it is the root systems are entangled. Then just cut the weak one out. The idea is we are observing the 3 seedlings. They'll get new leaves. We are just tracking their growth and we want to keep the strongest one so that there remains only 1 in 1 cup. Okay. And once it becomes, I would say this big, that is, let's say same height as the height of the container. Okay. Once it becomes this big, then we are going to transfer it. One of the biggest mistakes that beginners do, and I made as a beginner, is putting too many seeds to grow into big plants in small space. If you put 2 tomato plants in an 8-inch pot versus you put 1 tomato plant in an 8-inch pot, that 1 tomato plant will give you more tomatoes than 2 of them combined. So if you really want good healthy plants, you have to respect to give them space. So we start with a lot of seeds so that some of them germinate and then we can pick up the strongest one and eliminate others, but we have to be left with 1 plant and we are going to plant 1 plant. And then we had 4 of these, so we have put 4 plants, and then it's okay if 3 of them really grow big, 1 dies, that's fine. And that's the way to do it. That's the way. Grishma says I have 2 leaves. Those are cotyledons. I don't know whether you're saying I have 2 true leaves or which one. I have only 1 tomato germinated. Great. Social distancing with seeds. What if there are tiny micro bugs in a house pot? We'll do about bugs because I think we need a good discussion on this. Cocoa peat is great for germinating seeds. Okay. What is cocoa peat? Akshata Shetty. Cocoa peat is essentially made from cocoa coir. Essentially, it comes from the word cocoa and peat. So it should be actually, in realistically speaking, it should be cocoa coir mixed with peat moss or peat. So that's the essential one. But many times it's just the cocoa coir, cocoa husk that we get, and that's okay. Tomato plant needs a lot of nutrients. Yes. That is true. Magnesium. My hibiscus has bugs. Nothing helps. Show your first day plants. Shanu, that's what I'm saying. I in making the videos, I didn't water the seeds. So microgreens I have because these I was taking care of. The seeds I thought I'm taking care of, but I was not. And microgreens I've started eating also now. So that's the thing. But I think very soon by Monday or Tuesday I'll be showing. Till then, please, everyone who has seeds germinated, please do me a big favor and just mail me your photos. If you want to mail your along with that an Instagram handle or something, anything that you've done with us, mail a photo. We'll create a small clip, put it together, and we'll share it on Instagram. And if you want to share your photos and don't want it to go on social media, just put it in the mail. I will respect that. I will not share it anywhere, but I would love to see that. So please share your photos to video@lazygardener.in. We'll also put it in the description here. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And wow, we have 47 people right now here and 25 likes on the video. Thank you so much. And soak your coriander seeds. Coriander seeds in the kitchen that you have, soak them in water overnight. Actually, you have to do one more thing. You can break the seeds into two parts, split the seeds into two parts, and then soak them in water overnight. And tomorrow we'll do water, ginger. Oh, sorry, tomorrow we'll do coriander. We'll do ginger in a couple of days because that's something somebody reminded me. And this is amazing. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Uh, and Thank you so much. One question I had is for the topics. Any topic that you might have in mind, please suggest it in comments. We do have a look at it. That's how we came up with today's topic and also for the last 2 days about how to select plants from a nursery. Because I kept seeing these topics saying that my plant dies right after I bring it from nursery. And I was just thinking, are you getting the wrong plant or are you not sure how to take care of that plant? So these things help. And I hope I really love the two sessions. Selecting a plant in the nursery, I love that session. And I love the session on plants and light, and then how to water your plants. I think these are three of my favorite sessions that we have done till now. And yeah, coriander from root also. Okay, Priyanka, I'll try. I'll have to go today or tomorrow morning, try to find coriander, but I'll definitely try to do this. And we'll do it together. And tulsi and bugs in pot. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you everyone who is here, and it means a lot. Thank you, and see you tomorrow every day 4 p.m. And take care.